Regan, are Democrats in trouble? New polling numbers out today show their frontrunner Hillary Clinton trailing behind Republicans in key swing states. Hillary is now losing in all head-to-head matchups against Jeb Bush, Marco Rubio, and Scott Walker. Voters saying that they simply don't trust her. We're covering all angles of this story with our own Blake Burman, Gary Smith of the Kadina Group, and Joe Trippi of Trippi and Associates. Blake, I want to start with you and Hillary's numbers. These matchups, they aren't pretty, at least not for her.
No, not good for Hillary Clinton, Trish. This was three states, Colorado, Iowa, and Virginia. And when she was pitted up against these three, Jeb Bush, Marco Rubio, and Scott Walker, in those three swing states, she loses to all of them. Not only that, but in some cases, Trish, Bernie Sanders actually had a better matchup in certain circumstances than Hillary Clinton did. The good news for Hillary Clinton, though, is when polled all across the country against those three candidates, she wins heads up, Bush by 6, Walker by 10, Rubio by 7. But in those three swing states, she loses to them, as you can see there, anywhere from about 5 points all the way up to 9 points. Trish?
Why the challenge, Gary, in the swing states? Why is she less popular there?
Is that to me? Sorry.
Yes, Gary.
Yeah, why is she so unpopular there? She's a triple threat. She's unreliable, she's unlikable, she's untrustworthy. I think that comes through in every appearance she makes. She dodges reporters. People just sense that she's not one of them. And that's, I think, in essence, what voters look for.
Yeah, but nationally she's doing better. As Blake just pointed out, it's in these swing states that she's really struggling. I mean, you look at Colorado, Iowa, Virginia. These are places where, to your point, they don't think that she's trustworthy. Voters.
Yeah. No, I agree. Why in those swing states? Well, I'm sorry. Was that you're going to Joe? Let me answer real quickly.
Go ahead, Gary.
No, well, obviously the pollsters are focusing on those states right now. If we had a state-by-state comparison, I feel confident that other in the strictly blue states, the poll numbers would come out roughly the same.
Let me share with you all, Carly Fiorina this morning on Mornings with Maria had some thoughts about Hillary Clinton's trustworthiness. Listen to this.
Because, you know, if Hillary Clinton debates me, she can't talk about being a mother and a grandmother. Me too. She can't talk about being a woman. Me too. What she's going to have to talk about is her lack of trustworthiness, her lack of a track record of leadership, what her policies will do to this nation. And guess what? On that ground, we can win.
Joe Trippi, how do the Democrats combat this lack of trustworthiness that's so significant in some of this polling data?
Well, first of all, the real problem here is these are swing states. The reason they're swing states is they swing. They're going to be close all the way to the November. Look at the lead that Hillary Clinton has and the Democrats have, no matter who the nominee is. 18 states have voted Democrat 6 of the last 6 elections, 242 electoral votes. That puts the Republican parties back to the wall. They have to win every single one of these swing states, or virtually all of them. And that's not just these three. It's Florida, it's Ohio, it is these three, and there's several others. But there's like 9 states that they have to win. If these states weren't close, it would be a disaster for the Republican Party. These are states that go back and forth. They don't vote Republican every time or Democrat every time.
Yes, hence the term swing.
Countries.
Let me share with you all a report that just came out moments ago that's saying the government's predicting that Social Security disability payments will actually have to be reduced because the Disability Trust Fund is going to be running out of money in 2016. 2016, that would be right in the middle of a presidential campaign. Gary Smith, might this factor into voters and what they think of each party?
Well, it will, and I think in this case it's going to work for the Democrats. Look, they always have had the better brand, if you will. It's easy for them to promise, I'm never going to cut Social Security, we'll take it from somewhere else, forget about the debt that the United States have, we ignore that, we'll kick the can down the road. I think the Democrats, Hillary included, if she's the nominee, will agree to anything and promise anything. The Republicans might take a harder line on that, being more realistic, I think. And so it really plays into the blue hands, if you will.
Let me share with you some thoughts from Donald Trump on that. He has said over and over again, of course, that he would not touch Social Security. He would not cut it. Blake, he's been making a lot of noise out there on the campaign trail, heading down to the border tomorrow. What's that about?
Yeah, he'll be in the Laredo, Texas area tomorrow, Trish. He says he was invited to go down there. He talked about this on Fox earlier today, saying that he was invited down there and he will go down there. Of course, this has been the issue that he has campaigned on. It'll certainly be interesting to see exactly who he speaks with, what happens in front of the camera, and then, of course, with Donald Trump, what he says.
Of course. We'll be watching. It's actually happening at 2 o'clock tomorrow, 24 hours from now. But let me share with all of you what he said on Fox and Friends this morning. Watch this.
I've been invited by the Border Patrols, and they want to honor me, actually, and thousands of them. They want to do the job, and they're not allowed to do their job by the president. And they called me. They want to honor me, and I'll be going very soon. It could even be tomorrow.
In fact, he has announced it is indeed tomorrow. Joe Trippi, when you watch his meteoric rise in the polls, what do you say to yourself? I mean, is this another example of a candidate perhaps whose flame is burning so hot that at some point in the near future it's going to burn out?
I don't know that it's going to burn out. I've said all along that I thought it was a mistake to underestimate him. He's a master at gaining media attention, and here again, he's done it for probably the next 48 hours. We'll all be talking about Donald Trump down on the border tomorrow, and then the aftermath of that, and something he says down there. That's a huge problem for the rest of the field, because not necessarily because of anything he's saying, but because they're not being heard. He's casting a shadow that obliterates them and sucks up all the oxygen, so it's harder. Kasich announced yesterday, and he doesn't get anywhere near the coverage that Donald Trump's getting. That's a problem.
And what that really is about is he's tapping into a lot of sentiment that Americans feel right now, and he's doing it in such a way that people find refreshing, because he's completely off script. He's completely off prompter. Yeah. Lord, you don't know what's going to come out of his mouth next. And I think a lot of Americans, Gary, they like that.
Absolutely. And you know what the thing is? It's just so incredible. Do you think the Border Patrol really got together in a meeting and said, let's honor Donald Trump? I mean, it's just, the guy is just sometimes so full of it, but you end up smiling. You go, yeah, he's so full of it, but gosh, he's entertaining. And maybe right now, you're right, Trish. He has tapped into something, just like Fox News did. When Fox News started up many years ago, it tapped into this kind of silent majority of people wanting to hear a certain voice and a certain feeling. Donald Trump has that. He's like a genius at that.
Well, look, someone said to me the other day, look, if Donald Trump were president, I think Vladimir Putin would feel like he might actually need to back off, because God knows what he'd do. Anyway, thanks, Blake. Gary, and just stick with me. We have an alert we want to get to right now.